Hi, everybody. My name is Rob Keenan. I'm going to pull up a presentation on PowerPoint, so I'm going to share my screen. You should see it in about a second. Hold on one second. Let me expand it out so we can all see it. So today we're going to talk about probably one of the hottest topics in the media space, which is artificial intelligence and media. There has been an incredible focus and good, bad, or indifferent, um, incredible amount of effort and thought being put into the impact that AI is having inside of a media brand. I've been inside of a media brand and spent plenty of time thinking about it, and I've talked to many friends and colleagues and customers about AI and what impact it's going to have. So today we're just going to kind of look at like what's going on. We're also going to look at where AI can have impact and things that people really should be considering as we look at this landscape. Media landscape, as I think everyone knows right now, is extremely challenged. Especially consumer media. B2B media is challenged, but not quite as challenged as consumer media. But that being said, there's a lot of interest in AI. There's a lot of discussion. You can't go to an event without having somebody who's focusing on this. So it's really a fun topic to talk about, but it's also an important topic from a business perspective. Who I am, just real quick, I'm the president and owner of Keenan Media. I've worked at Adweek, where I was the VP of product development recently. I've been with several other companies over the years. I founded the Chief Digital Officer Committee, and I've been in the B2B market for a very long time. So today, you'll see right in front of you, Keenan Media is what I run, and our focus is really to provide consulting services to media brands. So we sit there, and myself and several people who work for me, we go in and we actually go in and do assessments. We help people with product development, and we provide guidance. Here's some of the clients that I've worked with: Farm Journal, North Star are two big ones. So is Bridge Tower. But over the years, I've worked with a number of brands, both big and small. And well, again, as I said, when I talk to anybody today, AI is just like on the top of their mind. And I guess when you think about AI, it's funny. I was thinking about this going into this presentation. And one thing I was thinking was, okay, so let's talk about AI, right? And let's figure this out for a second. And the one thing that came up was the impact AI is having on it's now another piece in the media puzzle, but that puzzle piece is really unclear. And I think when you think about this, some things that should stand out to you are eMarketer, which is one of our largest research agencies in the space. It's going to reach and this is most likely Gen AI numbers, but 77.8 million users in the next 2 years are going to are going to be using ChatGPT. So it's after it's launched 2 years ago, it's ballooned to 77.8 million users. And I bet you that number is even a little light. I bet it'll even be bigger with some of the stuff that Google has been doing. The Wall Street Journal, though, it's interesting. It's having a drastic impact on the market for especially how traffic gets to websites for media brands. And you can see that right now, media brands from organic traffic, particularly Google traffic, has seen a 20 to 40% drop in traffic coming across, or refers coming across. That is a huge part of a media brand's traffic. I can tell you most B2B brands will be in the 50% range of traffic coming from Google. Imagine just dropping off 20% of that and just dropping it on the floor. That's what's happened. And that's why everybody's running around saying, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I mean, the other side of it, of course, is, these tools are taking content and they're using content. And there's a lot of concern that they're using content the right way, that it's, presenting the content the right way. So there've been, there's a lot that's going on here on this topic. Sorry, guys, it's bringing back. So again, they're struggling with it, right? Some, in the struggle said, okay, like they've kind of thrown their hands up and said, this is a part of our life. And they're making, multi-million-dollar deals with these tools. People like News Corp, Financial Times, Dotdash Meredith, they publish things like People Magazine, The Atlantic, Vox Media, and several other people. I think it was Fox is who I was supposed to have in there. Not, I'm sorry about that typo. There's a ton of people out there right now, especially on the consumer side, who are cutting deals with the Chat GPTs of the world and the Googles of the world. And the reason they're doing that, by the way, it's kind of a two-sided thing. One, they want to get their, have some control over what content gets out there. And on the other side of it, the Chat GPTs and others get rights to this content. They can use it in searches. And that's really important for both sides. But there's other people who have lawsuits going. New York Times is probably the biggest one. New York Times makes a ton of money from its subscription business, and the idea that their content could get out into these tools, that is challenging. Other big brands here, you see the Denver Post, Chicago Tribune, Daily News. Even more, even recently, we've had some brands like Wired go after Claude, or I'm sorry, go after Perplexity, because Perplexity has indexed content in ways that they don't like. So, there's just a lot there, and that one is a plagiarization campaign. So just a lot of things going on in folks' minds around ChatGPT, Gen AI. But there are ways that Gen AI can help, right? So if you wake up in the morning and you say, there are some publishers out there say, I don't like this stuff. I don't want to get involved in it. Let me tell you, those publishers are not going to be around if they do that. I mean, first of all, there is the ability and the approach that this can actually help your operation. If you think about it, and most media brands should be thinking about it from an efficiency standpoint today, but right off the bat, sales prospecting is there. It's a great way for sales teams to really understand their customers, get information on their customers, build proposals for their customers. Event marketing, I can't say enough. Our event marketers have spent much time, doing a lot of things like create 7 versions of an email that's going to go out to their audiences. Well, imagine you can write one and get it replicated different ways 7 times. And, it's not perfect. You're not going to just spit out every one, but it will help. Transcription is another big one. There are opportunities there. Interestingly, if you want to know some ways that Gen AI can help, eMarketer today did have a piece on that. It came out just before this, a little too late for me to add it, but there was a piece on 7 ways that it can help. And one of those is SEO optimization. You can use it to find out information. I tried it today. It didn't quite help. But that's kind of the way these tools work these days, right? Sometimes they help, sometimes they don't. But you always need to be playing with them. And I would say it's interesting. A friend of mine who also is in the consulting space said this recently, and he said it to executives in the media space. If you're not doing it every day, you should be looking at Gen AI and and working with it every day. Did anybody have any questions? I just heard something pop up. You can pop questions in. You can also jump in. Don't hesitate. You can raise your hand. I'm certainly, I'm certainly willing to, jump in at any point. In terms of, um, looking at it from a tech perspective, so it's great to look at it from some of those business perspectives. I like to look at it. Okay, so how can my tech team leverage these Gen AI tools? And some great things out there. Coding and code checking. I can't tell you how many times I sat with my developers and how many times they said, "Yeah, this is just helping. It's making my job quicker." Again, it goes to efficiency, but you can leverage it for that. Same thing for data analytics. I had, I was sat next to the VP of data and analytics, and he would tell me how he was often checking or looking up ways to run SQL queries on his own databases, and refine his SQL queries using Gen AI. So definitely can help there. It also can help with things like SEO. It was interesting, and a developer of mine at Adweek, probably about 2 months before I left, he said, Rob, I got a great way to fix a huge SEO problem we have. And what he wanted to do was leverage the Google API, and basically you wanted to fix the SEO alt tags on all of our images. Adweek was a 30-year-old brand online. It's been online for 30 years. And imagine all of the images that are out there that don't have an alt tag. Well, that's a huge, 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 huge SEO problem for that site. And he was going to go out and use the Gemini API to basically come up with a way to build those alt tags. Interestingly enough, if you look at the marketer story today, there is a tool that's now popped up that will actually help publishers do that. So, again, these are things that are going to start impacting. Not, we talked about things that impact business, but now this is stuff that'll start impacting your tech teams, and especially things like SEO and stuff. I think you'll see the early wins for ChatGPT in coding and in SEO. I think it's a logical place for it to step in. But we have to look, and I'm sorry, let me just go back real quick. I think we get hung up when we talk about AI. We get hung up in the ChatGPTs, the Geminis, the Perplexities, and the other generative AI tools. And I think that that's a little bit of a mistake for us. It's funny. We've been doing AI for a lot of years. We haven't called it that. We've been doing large language models for a lot of years. We just haven't called it that. But today with some of the chatbots that are out there and some of the tools that are out there, we have the opportunity to leverage AI technology, not generative AI technology, although that will play here as well. We have the ability to leverage AI technology beyond the generative AI walls. And, I think Zuckerberg, who I don't quote very much because I'm not a big fan, but I will quote him here, he said the future is not going to be one AI. It's going to be a lot of AI with a lot of different people being able to create different things. And I think he's right. I think that AI is not going to be just one thing. It's going to be a lot of different things. One way that we can do it is we can take chatbots. There are third-party companies that have chatbots, or companies that can build chatbots for you, that can help with data structures and other things. So I think we need to find ways to leverage AI from a technical standpoint to make our company more efficient, to make better tools, to make things that allow our staffs to interact better with our products, as well as our audience. But internally first, it'll be an internal first thing. Here are some opportunities that are out there. Content archive out is probably one of the biggest low-hanging fruits out there today. If you don't know the running joke for a media brand, here's how it goes. Don't use my search engine. Go to Google, search where you want, and then add my brand at the end of it, and you'll actually be able to search my site. Because the reality is, everybody, I mean, every media brand, no matter who it is, have the worst search engine in the world, and they have struggled with it. They don't know how to deal with it. I'm telling you myself, I've lost sleep over it. It's just a problem. But a, a, a trial that I did or worked on, and it was done after I left, at Adweek, we were working a trial with a third party company. And in that trial, we actually asked them to take our content and index it. Well, it came back that they could better index our content and better allow users to search the Adweek database than Adweek's own search engine. And that was great because not only did it do it, but we didn't require people to go off site to do it. So again, that's a big deal for a media brand. Data access. The amount of money being spent at media brands in the last 5 years to integrate data and databases together has been huge. I don't have a number, but I can tell you it's a significant part of a budget every year now for media brands. The problem is they're getting the data together, but reporting on it is a huge hurdle. I've seen people spend time building these custom dashboards, and they're great, except they're very static. They don't let you ask the next question. They don't let you really dive. If you don't have the data that you want there, they don't let you dive down and do it. So there is an opportunity for you to build a custom, for not you, but for a custom off-the-shelf AI solution to help that. What we have to do is it's a phrase that's becoming big in the media space. We have to democratize our data. We have to make our data available to everybody. We have to let that sales rep be able to go in and do searches using natural language prompts to find the information they need for their customer. We need to have our editorial teams do that. If we truly want to be a data organization, we have to make our data more readily available. And AI is one opportunity that can help there. And ultimately, it will have an impact on revenue. So when you look at all this stuff, that's the first thing that top management says is, how is this going to impact revenue? And it's the right thing to say. What is the ROI? What is whatever phrase you want to use today? But AI tools are there, and they can do that. Okay. Personalization is the next one. It's some things that I hate to go with perplexity, but it's something that's perplexed most media brands today. What they do today in a media brand is they rely on the user to check off a bunch of stuff on a form and say, hey, I want to receive this, and this. It's not really personalization, because that may be what that person cares about today, but it may not be what they care about in 2 months from now or 3 months from now. There are times when I got requests and I cared about something for only 2 or 3 weeks. But if I had information on that 2 or 3 weeks, that was a big deal, right? And that's where newsletter personalization can play big here. It's important, and we need to build tools to enable that. So I'm sorry, I'm just letting one more person in. Okay. Probably one of the bigger questions out there as well. Before I jump onto the leaving the tech piece of it, do we have any questions on that? Does anybody have anything they want to ask about that? I'll take them at the end too, but I just wanted to stop for a second and see if anybody had anything to ask. Okay. So, when we talk about AI too, something to keep in mind, one of the biggest questions about AI that people do struggle with is its impact on editorial. If you haven't read the headlines, there have been times when people have relied too heavily on AI and have done things where they've plagiarized or caused problems or basically created content that's not theirs. That's not good. Nobody wants that, right? Some things though that people have thought about, generating variations of stories. If you think about it, I've got like 5 social channels I've got to get content out in. Each one of them has their own little approach, appeal, on the content. Newsletters, add another channel in there. And, I've got to optimize my content for each one of those. So I think, we need to keep in mind that that is an important part of this whole situation. So efficiency is going to be a big one. We just need to keep pushing the boundaries with editorial and AI. There's not tons of great answers yet. There will be answers. There's not a lot of clear ones yet. Just to recap, the attention around AI is running high in the media space. Gen AI is, clearly it's causing a negative impact in traffic. It's having some positives another way. I'm not being fair here with this statement. Definitely has a negative impact on overall traffic from things like Google, but there are positives and some things that do create efficiencies. You'll see because of that, media brands are partnering, some are suing, and I think it's still to be seen what the real win is there. And by the way, they're partnering with everybody. I mean, there's some people have cut deals with Gemini, some people have cut deals with ChatGPT, some people have cut deals with Claude, and these are all different products. They're all over the place, and I don't think there's any standardization there, and there might become one, but I don't think we'll see that for a little while. I talked about the increased efficiency. I also talked quite a bit in this presentation about how we can't limit AI to just Gen AI. We have to think about custom AI solutions for our brands. And then, the last part here is, our challenge is to find ways for AI to play a bigger role in our tech stacks. We have to find ways for this to penetrate our tech stacks, whether it's finding ways to make our CMSs more efficient, whether it's finding ways to make our databases more accessible. We just have to find ways to make AI be a bigger role in the overall stack of the company. So if you are a media brand and you are working there, or you're working with media brands, I think that's the challenge. I could tell you that personally, as the head of product and development, was spending more time looking at AI than anybody else was, because I knew at Adweek, and I know with other customers, that it is going to be an important thing for me to have in my stack to make my overall stack more efficient, make my overall stack more better, but to bring levels of efficiency to both my developers and my users across the board. So that's kind of my ending note on it. And of course, there's the ends. Here's just something from Cuban. I think it's a great quote. Artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, wherever you're doing, if you don't use it, learn it, because otherwise you're going to be a dinosaur within 3 years. And I'll be honest with you, I even think you'll be a dinosaur within 1 or 2 years. I think that's even far out now. One thing, an interesting quote that I heard 2 years ago, ChatGPT was like at the level of a 6th grader. Last year, it was at the level of a high schooler. This year, it's going to be at the level of a college graduate. And next year, it's going to be like with doctoral degrees. So that's how much this intelligence is growing and how quickly. If we got to figure out how to leverage it. That it's just critical for us to do that. Here's my contact information, but you have that, also there. And, I would open it for questions for everybody at this point. If you have any questions, I can stop sharing. I can jump to anything if we need to, but let me open it up for questions at this point. You don't have to type them in. You can just hop on and ask them if you have anything.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rob, for sharing the insights. Actually, I had a couple of things to ask, but I waited to you to complete the presentation. Thank you for covering the entire essence with respect to the, what trends we have within the AI, even in the media industry. I think we all understand that, AI has a long way to go, definitely. But like you said, that, there are very mixed feelings and perspectives, like at people saying that, how AI is going to disrupt everything. So though people know deep down, but they have been skeptical about how it is going to work or not, and even in the media industry. And like
Are you telling me that media executives are skeptical? No, I've never seen that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just
no,
kidding. Yeah, you're right.
people are
You're absolutely right
skeptical.
though about that.
Yeah, people are skeptical. They are not sure, right? So, because even we have been using, like, I come from a sales background. I use tools like, GPT, Perplexity every day. And even my marketing team is doing it. So I think we, ourselves are working on it and we understand it. But then again, considering that some people are promoting it, and then there are some people who are opposing it. So how do you see, this pathway, that we have to take, because we know that it has a long way to go, and definitely, uh, even like you said, right, that it is going to disrupt, like you showcased few data that maybe 20 to 40% there will be drop even in traffic search that is coming through Google, and AI is going to take that. But then this questions come in my mind that, I'm not really able to figure out the pathway that, how it is going to be. So what is your take on it, that how we are going to implement it, or how we are, going to work on it, so that all of us can learn and make use of it as much as possible?
So I think there's two answers to that question. Let me start with the 20 to 40% drop in traffic, because that's the one that everybody focuses on. Like they're infatuated with that number, because somewhere around September of last year, all of a sudden the world came crashing down on organic, and everybody was saying, "What happened? Why did I lose all this Google traffic?"
Hmm.
I think the mistake we made, um, and we continue to make, is that we forget that once we have people on our site, it's our job to engage them, right? It's
Yeah.
our job to get information on them. It's our job to engage them, and I think that challenge has been heightened with the Gen AI. So it's not about, if I look at B2B companies, they specialize in this, right? Like we specialized in understanding our audience because we had these niche audiences. We understand them better than anybody, right?
Yeah.
But we forgot about that, right? We forgot about that, and we weren't building our databases the right ways, and that's the challenge. There was a number that I forget what the number was, and I posted it on my LinkedIn not too long ago. How scary it is that we consider growing our audience to be critical, but we don't even have a written audience plan together, right? So that's one pathway. We got to fix that, right? The other pathway that we need to get to is kind of twofold. One is we've got to encourage our staff to be using these tools every day. We've just got to say, look, you can fight it all you want, but we've got to. I think as executives, it's critical for us to put AI wins down in front of people. Like we had people all across Ad Week using AI, and now nobody knew what anybody else was doing. No,
Mm.
nobody knew,
Yeah.
right? Until you asked, oh yeah, I've been doing that forever. Oh, has it been working? Oh yeah, it's worked great for us, right? And those stories need to be told, right, at the company level. I think they need to be told. I think the second piece of it is we need to wake up and realize that it's more than just ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
Or Perplexity or Chat or Claude or one of these. It's more than that. And I think that when we get to the point where we can make things like data more readily available in the company, let people look and say, well, how many times have I covered this? And what's the latest stuff that we've done there and how has that done from a traffic perspective, as well as maybe if I'm in a subscription business, like how many subscriptions is that driven, or all that stuff. I think that the more we can build these tools and then put good analytics and business intelligence around it, now the world changes for a media brand, right? Because now we're getting audience insights. Okay, so forget that I lost traffic. Now I understand my audience better, and maybe I can gain that traffic back by understanding the audience better. Those are the two paths that I see, kind of out there. I think we need to be cautious to fight these things.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a subscription very early to ChatGPT, right? And I've used it. I use it every day in my business, right? In a lot of different ways, I use it. And I've been a writer since 1995, and I challenge my own writing with ChatGPT, right? I challenge my own marketing emails. You would think you wouldn't do that, right? But I
Yeah.
do, and I think it's important for us to do that.
Right.
I hope that answered your question. I hope that
Definitely.
helped.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Great.
think that is something that, like most of the people, they do not understand. Maybe they are using the GPT, but then when it comes to the next part, that, okay, people are coming to say your website, but how do you make sure you engage with them, right? So maybe till a certain point, people are able to reach, but then, they are not able to think beyond that level. So that is missing, I think. So that surely answers my question. Thank you for that, Rob. And if
Thank
that's
you.
fine with you, maybe I would want to connect with you over LinkedIn or and understand from your experience, right? That
Absolutely. And for everybody, by the way, on this call, look, yeah, on this meeting, look, this is, we're all learning together, guys.
yeah.
We're all learning together here. This is not, what you saw today was a bunch of stuff I talked to a bunch of people about, right? I read a lot, but I don't know it all, right? And I'm not going to claim to know it all. But what I do know that if we have smart people getting together on a regular basis and talking to each other, we're going to learn these things together, right?
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
any
Thank
other questions out there? And thank you for that. I
yeah,
appreciate that.
thank you. Thank you, Rob. Yeah.
Okay, you guys heard me talk enough today. Come on, you must have something you guys want to say. You've heard me talk way too much today. All right, I'm not going to convince you. Listen, here's what I'd say, and I'll turn it back to the value bond in a second. But what I would say to you is this, everybody. Um, we're all on learning about this. If you'd like to get a copy of the presentation, feel free. Wait, I think there might be a message here. Let's see. Sorry, um, there was somebody sending a direct message. Let's say. How should we use AI to avoid plagiarism and make it original or unique and productive in our tests? Okay, so that's an interesting, so I'm not the specialist on the plagiarism stuff. Um, I all I can tell you is I sure know when I see it. Especially when my son tries to write his book reports through ChatGPT, I catch him. They use words that they don't use. Um, I do wonder. I think it's an editorial responsibility that we need to be fact checking as we always have. And I think we need to do that. I do think that this will slip out more. And I do think in terms of making it original, I think that the trick is to leverage the tools like ChatGPT, to help move through. I had somebody tell me they were using it at an event to actually not write the content, but actually help the editors, like maybe there were a bunch of press releases on or whatever, and just help the editors get a little further down the path, at an event, because you're always covering, you're always running at events to do things. I I don't quite have the answers on that. I don't live in the editorial world anymore. But I will say that I do think that we need to be cautious with plagiarism with it. We have to be. I think we need good editorial teams and good editorial structure to avoid that, and that's the best way to do that today. Any other questions? And thank you for that. That's a good question. Okay, so everybody, I want to say thank you for coming today. I appreciate it. You have the stuff to reach out to me. The team Value Bond, I'm sure, could always provide my information as well. But feel free to reach out. My LinkedIn is there. It's just slash Robert. You guys all know your LinkedIn profile /in/ Robert Keenan. So it's kind of easy. It's pretty straightforward. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back to the Value Bond team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you,
Th-
Rob.
Thank you, Rob, for joining us, and thank you guys who have attended it. Yeah.